Ready or not, here I come. What's up, everyone? I am the host of the most, Nick Moyo. Welcome to another episode of Nick's Reviews. Today we'll be discussing the sequel to Radio Not, Radio Not 2. Here I come. Anyway, I was a big fan of the first one. It was a surprise film, really. It wasn't on my radar. I had never seen a trailer, and then and I think I watched it a year later too. It came out in 2019, and I watched it I think at the end of 2019 or early 2020. And it was such a pleasant surprise. I was just growing sort of fond of uh, Samara Weaving. Um, so I was getting more familiar and more familiar with her work. So I was like, okay, cool. And and then I sort of read the premise, and I'm like, okay, you had my interest, but now you have my attention. um, and it was a solid film. It was really such a great film. And yeah, they did this very little that I wasn't happy with Ready or Not. It was such a great film. Um, and I was happy with it being a one-off film. No more sequels, no more spin-offs, nothing. Um, and I would have been happy if they did that. But they dropped the trailer for Radio Not 2, and I was like, okay, let's see what this is all about. Um, and I watched it, and I was captured again. I was captured again. And then I watched the film, and it felt like a natural progression. Um, it didn't feel like they had to like claw and scrape and scratch for a story. It felt like a natural progression. I will say though that I'm happy if it ends here. They might surprise me again and make a sequel, a third film, and wrap up the trilogy. But in all honesty, I don't see how they could move further from this. Because I mean, essentially now she's being hunted by heads of the family, because the first family in the first film were like one of six, um, and now the other five have come to hunt her because she survived the first film. Um, and now essentially the five families have come to hunt her, and if she survives again, then she gets to walk away, or no, she gets to become the ruler of the world. I guess I'm not even exaggerating. Like the the heads of the family are in cahoots in ruling the world. I'm not. I wish I was exaggerating. Um, and the head of those five families is literally like the head of the Illuminati. Essentially, it's basically that. Um, and if she survives, she gets to do that. She gets to be the head of that. This time around, they've got her sister in the mix, which adds a nice dynamic. Because then it would have been repetitive if it was her, just her again. So it adds a nice dynamic. We get to know a little bit more about her, but also now she has to worry about protecting herself and someone else. Which, like I said, added a nice dynamic to it. My favorite character was Elijah's Wood character. He was just so nonchalant, he was so chill, and he delivers all the rules and all the exposition in such a way that it doesn't feel forced. Number one, but also it's like you're delivering crazy shit, but he's so nonchalant in it, like you can't help but accept it because he's so normal about it. You're also like, oh, okay, this is just right. There's a devil cult that is made up of five families, and they hunt people, and if you win, you get to rule the world. Sure, that makes sense. Psh, just another Tuesday. Um, but yeah, I mean, being a sequel, obviously things are bigger, things are better, more blood, more, and I like they were creative in some of the kills. And although I will say there were a lot more rules this time, the rules were much simpler in the first one. Hide and go seek. We hunt you down with weapons. You have to survive the night, and I mean you have to survive until dawn. You win. This one came with like rules about the families, and like there was a whole rule book. You have to sign signatures, and you can abdicate your position as the head of the family and give it to the next of kin, so they can hunt for you and fight for you in the on the hunt for Samara Weaving's character. Um, yeah, it was just a lot more law. Kind of reminds me of the John Wick films. You know, the first film is pretty simple lore. You know, you've got an assassin, a hotel that houses assassins, and they use a coin system. You know, to call in favors, to call in cleaners, etc., etc. And then you go on in the John Wick films, and it's like every country has its own hotel full of assassins, and it's this whole underground network that is also in cahoots with the police. And I don't know. My point is just the law became a lot more, and I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, the film was still very much enjoyable, a lot of fun. I love guts, I love gore, you know, I love these type of films as well. So I had a good time. I had a really good time. Um, yeah, I'm gonna give this one 3.5 out of 5 Nicks. You guys can catch it on streaming if you haven't seen it already. If you want to see more from this page, please do like and subscribe and share. It does help me out. And yeah, catch me on my next episode.